chemical and electrical balance to function mentally, emotionally, and physically in its optimum state. So what they're doing now is bombarding us, and have been for some time, especially young people, children, with all this electrochemical crap to destabilize the body computer and its receiver transmission levels, so that we are operating on a fraction of our potential. Same with the drugs that they're throwing at people, not least the children. So many of these people, these kids that go crazy with guns, almost all of them in the end turn out to be drugged up with this stuff. Aspartame, the sugar substitute, is a brain suppressant and rewirer, which was brought onto the market as head of Searle Pharmaceuticals by this guy, Donald Rumsfeld, who keeps coming up in many guises, who sold out for a fortune to Monsanto, who now own aspartame. Fluoride, that lady Anna Bligh up in Queensland is putting fluoride in the Queensland water. They put it in the water of concentration camps in Germany to suppress and make docile the inmates. Fluoride is a brain suppressant. Monsanto, again, comes up again and again. The home of genetically modified food. Why? Because it's to genetically modify us. Genetically modified food affects human DNA. And I'll give you an example of just how detailed this is, because what it comes down to on so many levels is there is a level of knowledge here about how everything works, and then there's a level of knowledge that the public are allowed to have. I'll tell you a story I came across only last week. We have a treatment for cancer called chemotherapy, which is equivalent for most people to assisted suicide. Stone Age medicine. What chemotherapy does, as we are at the cutting edge of knowledge, is kills cells. That's what it does. It kills cells. It doesn't kill cancer cells only, it kills all cells. And the question is, do we kill enough healthy cells to kill the patient before we've killed the cancer cells to rid of the cancer? So what they're doing now is, some people anyway, they're trying to find drugs or a biomarker that will put into cancer cells which will only track the drug and the healthy cells won't. What it turns out, actually, this guy, Professor Dan Burke, and in Britain, as established, is that cancer cells already have a biomarker, and have always had a biomarker, and he's called it CYP1B1. It is an enzyme that only appears in cancer cells and not healthy cells. What he then did was get with another man, Professor Potter at Leicester University, who came up with a substance found in many fruit and vegetables, which is called salvestrols. That's what they call it. And they found this. The CYP1B1 enzyme, only in cancer cells, interacts with salvestrols that we get from fruit and vegetables and turns it into a cancer-killing agent. So we have had a natural cancer response system. As long as we eat fruit and vegetables in rich numbers with these salvestrols in them, when we get a cancer cell, the CYP1B1 enzyme within the cancer cell, but not in the healthy one, creates a chemical reaction with the salvestrols and kills the cancer cell, and doesn't harm normal cells. You get salvestrols in those fruit and vegetables that are subject to fungal attack, because the salvestrols are what the fruit and vegetables produce to deal with a fungus attack. And the reason salvestrols work against cancer, because we're going to find out, and it's going to be established eventually, cancer is actually a form of fungal attack on the body. Now, this is where I'm going. In the 1950s, they introduced chemical farming. From the 1950s, we have had an epidemic of cancer in the Western world. So what is the effect of this? Because they've been using fungicides on fruit and vegetables, they've been killing the funguses and the fungal attacks artificially, which means the fruit and vegetable plants are no longer producing salvestrols to deal with the fungal attack because it's being done externally for them. But here's the killer, that they know what they're doing. The most used fungicides used in the world have another effect. They neutralize the effect of CYP1B1, the enzyme in cancer cells. So you can eat all the salvestrols you like, but if your body accumulates the fungicide poisons through eating these foods, it won't matter anyway, because the salvestrol will not be activated as a cancer-killing agent because the enzyme within the cancer cell has been neutralized. And after 20 years of research of these people, that is absolutely no accident. They know exactly what they're doing. And that's why in America now, this bill is going through to make it virtually impossible for people to produce organic food in America when this bill goes through. Because if you eat organic fruit and vegetables of this type, then they are rich in salvestrols because they're still producing them to fight off fungal attack because there's no fungicide getting in the way. Vaccines. 25 vaccines by the age of 2. An emerging, growing immune system gets attacked with that shite in that period of time, and we think that children are going to grow into adults with immune systems that are as effective as they could be. You're having a bloody laugh. And these things that vaccines were supposed to get rid of were in free fall before the vaccines came in. Another scam. And of course, the immune system is the antivirus system. If that's not working, we become open to endless other attacks, which is what chemotherapy does in cancer treatment. It kills the cells in the immune system, which is why people that have chemotherapy have shot immune systems that are open to other things. And so there's also an attack going on now, as we've seen through this organization trying to reduce the doses and the sources of food supplements and stuff. It's all an attack. This guy, Codex Alimentarius, which is trying to create regulations that basically make food supplements and other things a waste of time because of the doses and the quality of them. And Codex Alimentarius came out of the people behind the IG Farben chemical cartel, pharmaceutical cartel that was behind the Auschwitz concentration camps and much more. And this guy, Fritz Tamiya, who was jailed by the Nuremberg trials for 7 years for war crimes and was got out after 4 thanks to Nelson Rockefeller, his friend in America. He was the man with others in the 1960s that set up Codex Alimentarius, which is now trying to destroy our ability to bridge the gap between what we used to get from fruit and vegetables and food and we don't get now. It's mass culling of the population. That's what they're after. And international law, international regulations is the way they're doing it. The reason international law is the code word or term that you see all the time now is because if you want a world government dictatorship, you have to have laws that everyone on the planet obeys and has to obey. That's where your dictatorship comes from. And that's why international law, international regulations are coming up everywhere. Same with this electromagnetic suit that we live in now. It's attacking the body electromagnetically and electrically to stop us operating on the level that we can. Before we have a break, I'll just finish with this because this is so, so important. The carbon con. We are being sold one of the most blatant lies, at least of modern times, and probably more than that. In this network, you'll see the Club of Rome, started in 1968. The Club of Rome is there within the network to manipulate the environmental movement to advance this agenda of global centralization. This is the founder of the Club of Rome, Giulio Pesci, quoted in one of its own publications in 1991. In searching for a new enemy to unite us, we came up with the idea that pollution, the threat of global warming, water shortages, famine and the like would fit the bill. And that is what they have done. The greenhouse effect. Oh, it doesn't let heat out, so the planet warms, and it's the greenhouse gases, and it's carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide has become the enemy, the villain. Without carbon dioxide, first of all, in the greenhouse effect, the planet would be too cold for any life.